number that was omitted into the packet as originally was sent out. Number 30, P&Z minutes from last week has been revised to reflect Commissioner Swenson's attendance, was not included in roll call. And then number 36 has been revised. For some reason, the resolution was included twice, and the RCA was excluded, so the RCA has been added to the.
So everything we have.
So those are the revisions or clarifications to the agenda.
So everything we have in front of us is current then now?
Should be, correct.
Current and correct. Okay. Public comments. Anybody have anything you'd like to address us about that's not on the agenda? We would entertain those comments at this time. Seeing that, we will trudge forward. Consent agenda. The following items are considered non-controversial by staff and are recommended to be read and passed in one motion. Any council person, staff, citizen, or meeting attendee can request one or more items be pulled from the consent agenda. And the item will be pulled and addressed immediately after the passage of the consent agenda. Otherwise, the following items will be passed in one motion. Number 1, approve the city council work session minutes from January 7th, 2025. Number 2, approve the city council minutes from January 7th, 2025. Number 3, approve the payment of bills and finance report. Number 4, accept the utilities commission minutes from January 8th, 2025. Number 5, approve the Bolton and Make agreement for professional services in the not to exceed amount of $14,704 for the 2025 CIP and payment management GIS assistance. Number 6, approve Bolton and Make proposal for engineering services in the not to exceed amount of $7,500 for the 2025 city street pacer rating project. Number 7, approve Bolton and Make proposal for engineering services in the not to exceed amount of $47,394 for the 2025 microservicing project. Number 8, accept the Clearwater Road Development Traffic Review Report. Number 9, approve the Timberline Heights Development Agreement. Number 10, approve the Timberline Heights Construction Repair and Maintenance Agreement for stormwater utilities and water main. Number 11, approve the Timberline Heights Stormwater Facilities Maintenance Agreement. Number 12, approve the Timberline Heights Permanent Hydrant Access Easement. Number 13, accept the 2024 well replacement exploratory summary letter. Number 14, accept the supplemental memorandum to the 2024 preliminary aquifer evaluation report. Number 16, approve Trout Company's final pay estimate number 2 in the amount of $36,241.86 for the 2024 well exploration drilling services contract related to the 2024 well replacement exploration services. Number 16, approve SEH contract in the not to exceed amount of $25,000 for the Water Enterprise Fund 20-year CIP project and the 2025 camp update. Number 17, approve the Thion Well Inc. quote in the amount of $24,998 for new pumps and motors for the 2025 Well 1 and Well 4 pump and motor replacement project. Number 18, approve SEH contract in the not to exceed amount of $8,400 for the 2025 Well 1 and Well 4 pump and motor replacement project. Number 19, approve R.L. Larson Excavating Inc. partial pay estimate number 9 in the amount of $299,003.02 for the 2024 South Forest View Area Improvement Project, municipal project number 4138. Number 20, approve the Anderson Brothers Construction final pay estimate number 13 in the amount of $41,307.70 for the 2023 commercial and residential full depth reclamation and quiet zone improvements project. Number 21, approve Quality Flow Systems Inc. equipment proposal in the amount of $58,460 for the Station 17 control panel pumps, accessories, and hatches. Number 22, approve the Knife River Corporation North Central partial pay estimate number 8 in the amount of $30,777.51 for the 2024 mill and overlay and full depth reclamation improvements project, municipal project number 4424. Number 23, approve Pratt's Affordable Excavating Inc. change order number 1 in the increased amount of $9,700 approve resolution 2025-017, authorizing permanent easement acquisition for city project 4118. Number 28, approve purchase for easement of parcels 40050606, 40050615, and 40050617 for the 2025 Design Road and Truck Highway 371 Stormwater Improvements Project. Number 29, approve the WITSUP agreement for professional engineering services for lift station number 17, reconstruction in the not to exceed amount of $14,500. Number 30, accept Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes from January 14th, 2025. Number 31, adopt resolution 2025-015, approving a variance to the sign height requirements for property located 7181 Novotny Road. Number 32, adopt resolution 2025-008 and ordinance 2025-001, approving a future land use amendment and rezoning. Resolution 2025-007, approving preliminary and final plat for Timberline Heights, and resolution 2025-009, approving a PUD general and final plat for 73-unit apartment for property located north of Clearwater Road and west of 7118 Clearwater Road. Number 33, adopt resolution 2025-013 and ordinance 2025-003, approving a future land use amendment and rezoning, and resolution 2025-014, approving a conditional use permit for a group home serving 12 individuals for property located at 13417 Cypress Drive. Number 34, adopt resolution 2025-010 and ordinance 2025-002, approving a future land use and zoning amendment, resolution 2025-011, approving a preliminary and final plat of Septuchek Business Park, and resolution 2025-012, approving a conditional use permit for joint access for property located at 7096 Area Road. Number 35, adopt resolution 2025-016, declaring the official intent to reimburse certain water main and wells 5 and 6 expenditures from proceeds of bonds to be issued by the city.
Just want to note, based upon our failure to include business and work session, items 13 and 14 should be pulled off so that SEH can finish that presentation and answer any questions that the council may have. So any motion for approval should include the removal of those two items.
Motion to approve the consent agenda, last items 13 and 14.
Motion by Cross,
Second.
second by Patrick, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Other business, adopt resolution number 20.
Oh, no,
I'm sorry.
we pulled 13 and 14 to finish the SEH report.
Oh, you want to go back there?
Yep, we're going to finish.
All right.
I think I have like 2 slides.
Sorry about that.
But anyway, so we just did exploratory reviews and to evaluate the potential of a well field further east of the plant. And the drilling of those 2 locations, they were favorable at both of those. We logged the soils. We also collected the soil samples to do the future well screening design so that you don't have to drill again to get those samples. And as you can see, we had a lot of gravel over in those areas, so it was favorable. And Johnson's Green made their recommendations on some well design if we ever move in that direction. And so based on those favorable conditions, the connector pipe, we recommended that they consider using a larger size if the city ever thinks they're gonna want to bring in water from the east, so they don't have to replace that at that time. So with that, do you have any questions?
Council, any questions?
No questions? No.
You do?
No.
No. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's fine, that's fine. So,
Thanks for your patience.
So with that, I make a motion to approve number 13, 14.
Motion by Cross, second by Lissu. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Both same sign, motion carries. Okay, 36, adopt resolution 2025-004, approving plans and specifications, ordering advertisement for bids for contract A for well construction related to the 2025 water supply improvements. Wells 5 and 6, municipal project number 6011-45040.
All right, I also have a presentation today. But I don't think it'll be too long, but it's intended to introduce you to the well improvements project. If you're not real familiar with it, you just learned about a lot of the front end work that went into the design of this. So I won't go through much of that, but we'll cover the project background, why we're doing it. We broke the project up into different contracts, and so I'll go through a description of each of those. Talk about the opinion of probable cost for the project, and then at the end, request authorization to approve the plans and specifications and order advertisement for bids for the well construction portion of the project. And so the primary purpose of the project is to replace capacity that has been lost from the city's existing well field. And so after the well rehabilitations this summer, we did some testing with all of the well pumps and found that the well field capacity is about 500 gallons per minute, or 700,000 gallons per day less than when the well field was originally constructed, due to aquifer conditions after the historical water demands that the city experienced in 2023. Like I mentioned, we broke the project up into 3 different contracts in order to try to fast track the construction of these wells. So we've got contract A for well construction, contract B for utilities and site construction, and then contract C to procure well control panels. All right, so contract A for well construction, that is really strictly work associated with actually drilling and constructing the proposed wells 5 and 6. So that's drilling the well, installing a pitless adapter at the top of the well, so basically the wellhead, and then providing the pump that will go into the well. So all of that scope is under, I guess, a well drilling contractor that would be a subcontractor to a different general. As part of that effort, we need to have a DNR building well construction assessment completed. That has been done. They pointed out that the proposed wells have the potential to impact nearby surface water features and domestic wells. We're not intending to pump any more water than what you're pumping now, just to replace lost capacity. And we actually had a meeting with the DNR since the presentation was put together. And it doesn't sound like they're going to require additional technical review based on our meeting. It will require a longer duration test on the aquifer. The schedule for contract A, the design is complete. We used the information that Melanie just presented to design the wells. We're requesting authorization to advertise for bids. And so upon your approval, we'd advertise this week, or get the advertisement out this week. Plan to accept bids on February 18th. And then construction would take place, as soon as contracts would be awarded, with a milestone of July 18th to have the wells drilled, developed, and test pumped, so that the well driller can order the pump and have it installed and ready by the time the rest of the project is constructed. And so we're looking to have the entire project substantially complete at the end of September, with final completion at the end of October. I did include here, you have the full drawing set in your packets, but just brought some snips out of those into the presentation here. Just the cover. Let's see if this laser pointer will work. So well 5 is going up here. That's at the location of MW3 that Melanie presented. And then well number 6 is over here further to the east. That is at the location of MW1 that Melanie presented. so it's really the plan showing where the wells are gonna be constructed, some cross sections of the wells, showing how deep they are, where the casing is, where the screen should go, and then all the different geological formations that the well driller would expect. And then just another drawing showing what the wellhead will look like and who's responsible for what here. Contract B is going to be for utilities and site construction, so that would include construction of the raw water main, site work, and electrical installation. The schedule for that, we are planning to have the design wrapped up here at the end of January. And we would like to come back in February and request authorization to advertise for bids for contract B work, to bid that in March. As far as construction would go, the contract B contractor wouldn't start their work, start putting in main until after the wells 5 and 6 are constructed. And then they would have until the end of September to get that main in, goal of having the whole thing up and running by the end of September. This is a very similar site plan, still working through some of the details on it. This just shows the water main route from the wells into the water plant. And so that portion of the contract includes the water main. It would include any repaving necessary. The pavement will be damaged on the site, along with well metering equipment and all the valves and everything going along with that. So contract C, well control panel procurement. Each of the wells is going to need a control panel, so basically a panel that's got the power to supply the well pump with PLC, basically the computer to run the well and tell the pump how much water that it should be pumping out. Those panels are being procured separately from construction to reduce the total project schedule. It takes about 12 weeks to get those panels, and so we wanted to get quotes for those panels ahead of the rest of the project going out for bid, so we wouldn't end up pushing the schedule even further. We work with A2S, the city's systems integrator, to prepare the control panel specification. We actually have quotes coming back from panel fabricators this week with the requirement in that contract with whoever the control panel provider would be to have the panels on site by June 30th before the contract B contractor would need them. Looking at opinion of probable cost, this breaks the construction down by contract with about $1.8 million in construction. When you add in contingencies and the rest of the soft costs, the total opinion of probable cost for all three contracts would be about $2.6 million. And that brings me to the request to adopt the resolution in your packet and advertise for bids for contract A.
Council, any questions?
Make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion by Lucio, second by Cross. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say sign. Motion carries. Number 37, adopt resolution 2025-005. Here we go.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Alex Bitter. I'm the contract project engineer for the 2025 Commercial FDR Improvements Project. We have reviewed this in 2024, but with the removal of Edgewood Drive and Lake Forest Drive, some fairly significant things changed with the project. So we wanted to bring it back in front of council and present those changes, because those changes ultimately resulted in us needing to hold a supplemental improvement hearing, which is the ultimate goal of tonight. So now for the 2025 commercial street project or commercial FTR projects, we are just going to be looking at Audubon Way and Whispering Woods Lane. So Audubon Way was last improved in 2004, but then it was chip sealed in 2017. As we know, that chip seal is problematic and caused some stripping. So on the road, there are some significant areas of patching. Overall, the PACER rating in 2002 was a 6 or 7. We had that update from Bolton Mink. It's, I believe, a 4 or 5 now. We'll end up, the concrete median is in need of replacement on the north end. And there's also a fairly significant sanitary sewer joint separation and some storm sewer issues that need to be addressed during construction on the Audubon Way. Whispering Woods Lane, this is the section that's just beyond what we completed this year. Turns out that was a great thing to hold off on that because the Menards construction traffic really tore up that short section of road that they were using to go in between their newly constructed lot and then their new backyard that they just completed. So Whispering Woods Lane was originally last improved in 2002. In the PACER rating in 2022 was a 7, and that is outdated. We're closer to a 5 now. What would happen on just Audubon Way is we'd be looking to reclaim 9.5 inches of material. We would fix the separation of the sanitary sewer. We'll have to pump down the storm sewer basin in order to make the corrections to the storm sewer. Just because when the televising came through, that was one section they could not get because it was full of water. So I told them just to hold off and I'd review with the city on how we should move forward with that. Because pumping that amount of water down is fairly significant and way beyond what they originally quoted us for. Whispering Woods Lane, basically just a 8.5 inch reclaim. Both roadways would get a subcut to remove the excess material to basically keep the road at the same elevation. We looked at raising both of them, and it just didn't make sense with some of the driveways. We didn't want to monkey with the drainage and cause an adverse effect. We did find a couple of those when we tried to raise the road, so we didn't want to do that. They would end up replacing or putting back 6 inches of reclaimed base for your road base, full curb and gutter removal on both roads, and replace that, and then 6 inches of bituminous constructed in 3 lifts to meet the city's pavement design, and then replace the driveways to the right-of-way line and improve the casting, sanitary casting, the inlets to the curb and gutter, kind of the usual improvements we do as we go through these street improvements. Main reason why we're here tonight is when originally presented, the approximate assessment on a square foot basis was about 58 cents. That included all 4 roads, Edgewood, Lake Forest, Audubon Way, and Whispering Woods Lane. Now, pulling those out and looking at just those 2 roads, it was very clear that residents on Audubon Way were paying for some of Whispering Woods Lane, and it was a significant difference. So we actually changed, while still following the assessment policy, changed how we were going to assess those 2 roads. So Audubon Way is assessed by itself, and that resulted in about a 69-cent assessment per square foot. So that's a pretty big change. So kind of go through how we got there. Audubon Way has some fairly significant wetlands. The magenta or the pink lines are the normal assessable frontage on the road. The green lines, a little hard to see up here, but that is area or length of wetland that we pulled out of there because that's not really accessible, it's not buildable So we removed some of that portion, and that frontage then became city cost. We also did a similar method to what was completed in 2024, where the non-buildable area within the lots, so the wetlands, are not assessed. The city is picking up those non-buildable costs as well. So there's a correction factor, if you will, with the buildable area and the front footage, and that got us to our final assessment cost. So total project cost for Audubon Way is just under $1 million, $954,000. Little bit of city cost in there to do the sanitary sewer repairs, and then the remaining costs are accessible. So roadway, sanitary sewer, storm sewer, and water main are accessible. We're not assessing for that joint separation that's all city cost. So going through there, about $900,000 left in accessible costs. With the front footage, we calculated a linear foot cost. So then we could take out the city assessment for the non-accessible areas, and then we have the remaining frontage. Multiply that by the accessible cost and the remaining accessible area, giving us 68 cents and 68, basically 68 cents that we're going to assess. Sorry. So that's kind of that big change. So when we go from the 4 roads, it's definitely a lot better value spreading that cost around. And now we are just looking at assessing 1 road, and it's 10, 11, 12 cents more per square foot just looking at 1 road. Whispering Woods Lane, a little bit similar. We're going back to a more traditional way of assessment. There's no wetlands, so we're just going to assess on a front footage basis, and that's both sides of the road. Menards is the benefiting property on both sides of the road. So the previous assessment cost, like I said, was about 57 cents, 58 cents, which resulted, based on the property area and how it was calculated, it was only about 78,000 that Menards was going to end up paying, with a total project cost of 112,000. So there's a significant amount of dollars that the resident or the business owners on Audubon Way would have been picking up if we didn't split these roads. So by splitting it out, there's all accessible costs for this roadway underneath the assessment policy, getting us to about $318 a linear foot for an assessment for Whispering Woods Lane. So overall, the project is about $1,066,000. 71% of that is accessible, 29% of that is city cost. And kind of moving forward, our goal, we held the improvement hearing, we took feedback from the residents, property owners, and now with these changes, we'll want to present the changes at the supplemental improvement hearing on January 21st. So that's our ultimate goal. Excuse me. On February 20th. Sorry, we are tonight at January 21st. So yeah, that's kind of our end goal here. Do you have any questions?
I know it's a late hour now. Without tipping the cart over completely, is there any way to add something to this project?
I mean, it comes down to schedule. I think with this project in particular, a lot of feedback I've gotten from property owners is please don't start until after BIR Nationals.
Right.
So, right, I mean, we certainly could add something back into the project and recalculate that assessment and try to combine everything more and soften the blow and spread it around. But, we are getting short on time too. It takes a decent effort on our part to, get these projects update the report again, and send out notifications. But it could be done, yes, absolutely.
Keep in mind that, as was shared at the initial, when we went through this, is that, the city has been going through and doing the FDRs, and building overlays in commercial areas for, what, now, 10 years, Trevor?
Yeah, 10 years, 2015.
Yeah. In that context, and the commercial portions that are left are the projects that were initially included in this, and then the industrial park.
We took out.
And we took out the other parts of it, so, just want to lay that on the table as we are at the tail end of those commercial rehabs, so.
Any other questions or comments?
Make a motion to approve the resolution.
Motion by Cross,
Second.
second by Leslie. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 38. Is that you too?
That is me.
2025-006.
Yeah. There we go. So, next project we'll be talking about is the 2025 Design Road and 371 Stormwater Improvements Project. We'll be just going over the feasibility study at this point. So, this is our project area. We kind of, main stretch of Design Road, and the line going across 371 towards Taco Bell, that just represents the storm sewer that's going to go across 371 to pick up that drainage, and then we bring all that over and down to the Wisconsin Creek Stormwater Management Facility area. So some background, this project was originally presented in 2002 with those three improvements, and it was pulled for an opportunity to work with MnDOT. There was some funding available, and that funding was obtained to help with this project. So we've been working with MnDOT for quite a while to update these plans, work with them on, some of the upcoming 210, 371 interchange. So we're working pretty closely with MnDOT on all that. It's a pretty extensive process to go through. The dollars that were allocated to the city are federal and state funds. So we have quite a process that we're following to get all those boxes checked. Main thing we're finishing up right now is temporary easements. I only have 3 left to talk with the property, or I've talked with all the property owners, with only 3 left out of the 11 that we need to get back. So those are going fairly well so far. And then we're looking to make the final submittals to MnDOT here, hopefully the end of this month or early February. So we're getting really close. Design Road was originally constructed in 1981 with 3 inches of pavement and 4 inches of aggregate base and a 39-foot face-to-face. It was mill and inlaid in 2002, not 2022. And in 2022, it had a PACER rating of 4. And the road has since continued to get worse. So as part of this, and the big reason that MnDOT is helping with this is because they, some of their improvements are related to the flooding in 371 in front of Taco Bell and on Delwood Drive. So we presented that to them, and that helped us get that funding for the city. But there's the storm sewer in that whole area, west of 371, east of 371, and north of Design Road is very overloaded. We modeled that whole area in the computer program, and yeah, it kind of just proved our point. There's flooding. It's pretty easy to see. Some of that flooding is upwards of 18 inches at some bad times. There's also sanitary sewer running down the middle of Design Road, and then a 10-inch water main on the south side of Design Road. So proposed plan would be to ultimately construct a 10-ton road design to fit with city standard. That's 6 inches of pavement and 6 inches of base. Actually, planning on relocating the sanitary sewer to the north side of the road to make room for the 60-inch storm pipe that's gonna now go down the middle of the road. To make all of that fit together, there's gonna have to be some water main adjustments. We'll be doing the water main or water services to all the properties. We'll be redoing those. Redoing the sanitary sewer services to all the properties as well. Those two items are basically the reason we're getting the temporary easements, because we're gonna be right up to that right-of-way line, and we cannot step on private property without an easement. That's kind of the overall big picture goal of this project. For the assessments, we are assessing for this project. We're just assessing on a front footage basis. Pretty standard process. Overall project cost a little over 4.1 million. MnDOT is picking up a fair share of the roadway, water, sewer, storm. So everything underground, not at the surface, MnDOT, those are eligible costs to be covered by MnDOT. There are still some city costs in there. A couple extra things we'll be doing with the roadway, water, sanitary sewer, and storm sewer. Mainly with the water, it's just gonna be replacing some hydrants and valves that aren't functioning correctly right now. 438,000 is the remaining accessible costs. Spread that out along the front footage, and it's a little under $200 a foot for that accessible cost. I touched on the funding, so those two pots of funding are the Protect funds through the ATP3 and then MnDOT District 3, totaling a little over $3 million with a little over $4.1 million project that covers a fair share. Accessible costs are, like I said, $438,000 with the MnDOT funding. That leaves a $734,000 city cost, which is the city is also planning to advance some funds through the state aid account to cover the city costs. So the goal on this project is likely little to no city costs out of pocket. It's just through other admin and everything costs. So going through the schedule, we'd be looking to hold the initial improvement hearing on February 13th. And that's, again, the goal of the resolution presented before you. Do you have any questions?
I do. When I read this about the 60-inch pipe is to bypass the Fleet Farm store. The next paragraph, it says something else is still going to the Fleet Farm store, so what?
Sure. So how that works, underneath Fleet Farm, there's a leg that comes from the north and there's a leg that comes from the south. So we'll be bulkheading the majority of the drainage in that system, which comes from the north. So that'll get bulkheaded on the south side on Mills property and redirected to the Whiskey Creek.
Right.
The remaining storm water comes down Excelsior and then up underneath Fleet Farm and then over. So there's still going to be a little bit going through there, but we're drastically reducing that. That whole system under there is overloaded. That's going to give more capacity for that Excelsior stretch and helping it function a lot more efficient.
Hey, Council, any questions for you? No. Okay, look for a
Motion to approve.
motion by Cross,
I'll second.
second by Patrick. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Yeah, I think that takes care of that, bulk of that, so we're at the council comments, Connie.
Just two brief ones. It's nice for me, as a former teacher, to look out and see in one of the chairs a former student. He left Baxter Elementary as just a little guy, and now I'm quite sure he's a young man, and I'd be looking up to him, so good to see you, Riley. And then secondly, I had the opportunity to walk through the dog park on Clearwater the other day, and we actually brought Ollie, our big dog, and it was emotional for me, but to actually see it staked out, I was really
good ice. We have a little bit of snow. It'd be nice to have a little bit more snow for hospitality's sake and for, you know, the winter recreation. But I'm really excited that we actually have snow. I actually have some good lake ice this year. We can, the people that enjoy ice fishing can get out ice fishing and stay at our resorts and eat in our restaurants and drink at our establishments.
Yeah, that's right. Mark, anything? Nothing tonight. I got nothing. City Administrator.
Just one item, I don't know if council caught it in the packet. There was an item to do the final pay estimate for Anderson Brothers as it relates to the Foley Road and the Quiet Zone project. I don't know if you noticed that the statement there, based upon the work that was done by SEH, and obtaining the necessary documentation from the county and MnDOT, as well as getting some traffic numbers. That stuff was resubmitted to BNSA earlier this month, and the response was satisfactory. So, knock on wood, and Neil, you can correct me if I'm wrong with this. The quiet zone is set to take effect at 5 a.m. on January 31st.
Believe it when we see it.
So, that is all, Your Honor.
Well, that's good news. It's true. Anything from the attorney?
There is nothing from the attorney.
I'd look for a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Mayor?
I'll second.
Stay warm.
We're live on YouTube here.